What's up, family? Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to show you guys what I have executed this week. This is an all vegan challenge. So my model was vegan and she totally inspired me to completely do everything vegan. So from the brushes down to the highlight, the contour, the whole nine. Everything in this video was cruelty animal free, and I'm so excited to share with you guys how I executed this look. So stay tuned and we're gonna dive straight in. So I'm starting off with e.l.f.'s brow cream. This is in the shade medium brown, and I'm just taking a brush and I'm carving out a nice cute shape for her. When it comes to brushes, guys, they were all vegan. Everything will be included in the description box. These were all of her products, so I'm not familiar with everything. She did give me an entire list of all the products that we use, so that will be in the description box for you guys. For those vegans or people who are considering being vegan or whatever, I'll make sure I include that in there for you. So I'm using BECCA's poreless primer, and I'm just packing that on the skin for her. And then I went to Tarte's poreless primer and I flexed that all over the skin. And now we're gonna go back into those brows. I'm using KatVonD's concealer in the shade Deep 34, and I'm just going underneath the brow and just cleaning that up. Brows are my favorite part of the face, so they gotta be perfect. I spend like 30 minutes on a brow if I have to. I'll spend an hour on a brow if I have to. And then I'm just gonna flex that concealer all over the lid, just as a primer. I am setting that concealer with KatVonD's translucent setting powder, and I'm not using a lot. I'm just taking a fluffy brush and I'm just pressing that all over the lid. So I'm going into Morphe's Fierce by Nature palette. I'm using a nice warm transition color. This was shade Savage, and I'm just putting that right in the crease of the lid, right up under that brow bone there. And then I'm going into Revolution's London palette. This is a shade Cool I used. And I just put that right in that transition color, or right underneath that transition color. Just kind of going up into that warm orange. This is Tofu. She definitely approves. And going back into that palette, we're using the shade Plant. This is a nice teal greeny. And just putting that right underneath those colors, trying to get that gradient effect there. And then I'm cleaning up with a wet wipe any fallout that may have come out under that eye. So the liner we used was by KatVonD. This is her tattoo liner. I'm just doing like a nice short wing for her. And I'm using that same concealer to get a nice crisp sharp line underneath that wing. So I'm using that same concealer, and the scarred areas on her face, I'm just taking that and placing it right over those areas, so that when the concealer dries down and we go over it with the foundation, it'll give some nice coverage there. So I'm mixing two foundations. This is Fenty and Hourglass in the shade Chestnut, and I think Fenty was 370. And I'm just going right over that concealer as if I didn't even put the concealer there. I'm using Cover FX. I'm using their illuminating setting spray to kind of loosen up the product, and I'm just buffing that all over her skin. Doing some buffing motions there until we got the coverage that I wanted. And now we're using Stila's Duo palette here. These were cream-based concealers. I really like these concealers. I'm using that just to go right under her under eye area, down the bridge of her nose, her forehead, and chin. And I'm just kind of stretching that out all over the face. I went back into that same translucent powder and just kind of pressed it in her under eye area. Not packing it on, just kind of pressing it. And in that same palette, the palette shade was deep, by the way. I didn't mention that, but I'm going in and just contouring her face. Now I'm using a blending brush and I'm just kind of working that product in. Just making sure everything is smooth. And I did use my finger a little bit to go back in that powder so that there's no creasing right under her eye. So that's what I'm doing here. And now I'm using Morphe's blush palette. This is the shade Provocative and Witty. I'm using that as a blush. Witty did have like a kind of gold effect to it, and I really like that. That's why I kind of went into those two shades. But I'm using a bronzer here to kind of hit the tip of the nose, and then under her brow bone, just give her a little life. And then those same colors from the Revolution palette, I'm going right underneath her under eye area. So to intensify the highlighted areas of her face, I used Haze inside of that Revolution palette. And then I went right over those same areas that I put the Stila bronzer, just to give it a little shine. So this is Tarte's mascara, excuse me. And I used their Duo Lash glue. It's also vegan. And I'm using Tarte's lashes in the shade Goddess. I said in the shade. Type Goddess. And you'll just see me place that lash right on her lash line there. And I do find it easier to do the lashes with the eye opened, so you can press it in there seamlessly. Now, I did not get the lips. My phone died when I was recording. I did not get the lips, but I did just conceal the lips. And I like the matte look that they had there. But this was also a concealer by e.l.f., which is vegan. And this is how the look came out. I literally love it. She's like super natural. She likes things natural, not too extra, not too much. And it gave the coverage that she needed. And it was beautiful. I loved it. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, or want me to do something else vegan, I will do so. Thanks for staying tuned. And I will see you next time.